prevented another deadly suicide attack at the airport. The Taliban says it welcomes the missile attack. Carl Orton is a terrorism analyst focusing on Syria and terrorist groups like ISIS and the PKK. Carl, good morning. This terror group is known as ISIS-K. Just tell us more about these groups that we might not know a lot about.
Good morning. So this one, I mean, ISIS has overseas branches in a number of countries now, and it's quite important to not see them as kind of as distinct from the center. They are set up by people sent directly from the center. They send officers over to do kind of like quality control. And the media is the first thing they take over that's integrated into the center's messaging campaign. They send military officials, they send trainers. They ideologically indoctrinate people into the correct form, as they see it, of Islamic doctrine. And because what their appeal really is often to disaffected Al-Qaeda networks. They pull away sections of these organizations by saying Al-Qaeda's fallen into sin and we're here with the pure version of Islam, so you should come and join us. And that's certainly how they've proceeded in Afghanistan and Pakistan. A lot of the initial members of ISKP, as it's called, its Khorasan province, were members of what's called the Pakistani Taliban. But the Taliban itself, a lot of members have defected. And also, which actually matters for the attack that happened this week, in the cities, members of the Haqqani network, which is the most lethal wing of the Taliban, if you like, or the most lethal faction within it. It's obviously because it's an instrument of Pakistan's intelligence services, so it's very capable in that way.
Is it a threat to the Taliban? Sorry to interrupt. Is it a threat to the Taliban? Will they be worried about this?
Yeah, they are. But what I was saying was that a lot of the Haqqani people in the cities defected to ISKP, which is why they had such capabilities to carry out things like this. But yes, the Taliban has an immense problem, because the Taliban, for instance, in coordinating this evacuation with us in Kabul, has been seen by ISIS as collaborating with the West, and by the Taliban's own rank and file will see it that way too. So there's going to be recruiting opportunities for ISIS to say, you shouldn't go with these corrupt people who say they're jihadists, but they're coordinating with the West. You should come and join us.
What have you made? I mean, let's just talk about how this affects the rest of the world, especially the West, the threat of terror. Boris Johnson saying a terror threat's worst in years. Is it?
Yes, I think so. I mean, the Taliban is indistinguishable from Al-Qaeda, and it's now back in control of Afghanistan. And the Taliban can't rule all of the country. And in those areas that are ungoverned, ISIS is going to have freer reign. And ISIS-KP or ISIS-K, these acronyms you keep switching, but they're not very helpful. But ISKP is the standard name for it. Has already been connected to foreign attacks in Australia and in Malaysia. Or rather, foreign plots. It didn't actually get to carry out the attack in Australia, but there have been arrests connected to them.
Kyle, on the psychology of these drone strikes, America using this technology, which means obviously they don't have a physical presence there, but the intelligence is there. That's going to concern the Taliban and all those in Afghanistan, because someone has to be giving the Americans that intelligence. Are we going to see a large number of witch hunts from now on?
I don't think that's going to be. I mean, the Taliban is going to kill a great number of people who were involved in working with us, but that's not going to be to do with the drone strikes. I mean, these drone strikes have been opportunistic because the one in Kabul isn't. The one in Kabul is related to real-time events, but the one that the Americans carried out ostensibly in revenge for the airport attack was basically somebody they had on the list already. I mean, the intelligence is going to be the big problem now we've gone, because there's nobody on the ground to give us an intelligence stream. The idea that drone strikes are going to continue in Afghanistan after this is very unlikely. There isn't going to be intelligence to do it. And the nearest base is the American tower 1,000 miles away in the Gulf. So even if they had intelligence, acting on it in time would be difficult.
OK, well, Carl, great to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.